Testing, 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 testing. So that was the Sunsetters and All in Love, and we are back. Talk with TaJ, focus on Chatham. Today's been all focus on Chatham day, and we are here live at the Alpha Center, Chatham, Circle City Recording, and the headquarters of the Chatham County Line. And we are here, and we're going to talk about an article and a topic that Chatham County Line covered recently, and that has to do with the drinking water here in Chatham County. So Pittsboro studies water quality of Haw River. So this has been happening for a while, and I was to have a guest from the Haw River Assembly, but she's traveling and not able to make it. So I'm just going to give some information about this because don't forget, we discuss, we define, and we deliver. So we want to discuss what the issue is. We want to define how it happened, and then we want to discuss what some deliverables are. The town of Pittsboro is the only municipality in the Haw River watershed that takes its source drinking water from the hitting in 1985. The Haw River Assembly found that the Pittsboro was contaminated by industrial pollutants from cities upriver, including Greensboro, Reedsville, and Burlington. Most industrial wastewater is treated in municipal wastewater treatment plants, and regulations do not require monitoring of these chemicals. These pollutants enter the river through treated effluent through treatment plants. Regulations do not require, okay. They come through treated effluent from municipal wastewater. Well, that's a new word I've learned today, effluent. If you guys can email or text me the definition of effluent, I'll reach into my prize bag and see what you win. So effluent from municipal wastewater treatment plants which are unable to remove the chemicals or unaware of their presence. So this is from the Haw River Academy, and they updated Pittsboro officials over the years, continuing problem. And in 2007, the town of Pittsboro was given notice of high levels of unregulated contaminants in the Haw River after a report was published in a scientific journal about a family of chemicals called PFAS. That's a little acronym, PFAS. Since the article was published, Haw River Assembly has been working with certified laboratories and a team of scientists in area universities and research facilities to investigate the levels of these contaminants throughout the watershed. We have found that although some of these industrial contaminants are present in treated wastewater, others have found that although some of these industrial contaminants are present in treated, others are contained in the wastewater sludge that is applied to fields and often runs into streams during storms. So let me say that again. They have found that although some of these industrial contaminants are present in treated wastewater, others are contained in wastewater sludge that is applied to fields and often runs off into the streams during storms. So that was the conversation I'd been having with the folks there, is that it's really the sludge that is the issue. And so I just used a term called PFAS, P-F-A-S, and all right, work with me, folks. I'm going to do this as best I can. PFAS stands for perfluoroalkyl substances. I'll have to, if you can say that word and define that, I'll give you 2 prizes out of the bags. And these are a class of unregulated contaminants that are not easily removed in traditional drinking water treatment processes and have serious long-term health effects. So PFAS is the category, and from what I learned, Gen X is found in is a subset of the PFAS, and this is a chemical that is used in Teflon. There's another industrial solvent. It's 1,4-dioxane. It's also contaminating the Haw River at high levels and has been found in Pittsboro's drinking water. This chemical is used in a large number of industrial applications and is also considered a carcinogen and health risk when present above safe levels in drinking water supplies. So the other part that I will say to this is that, we were just talking about with my friend Bill Goldberg from the Center for Justice Peace Building Institute. We were talking about symbols, statues, all these polarizing issues that seem to be happening. Well, water is something that can bring us all together because we are all made of water. So this should be something that we can all, regardless of if everyone gets along on every single thing, we can find a common ground to be able to work in fixing our water. Everyone always says, what about the kids? What about the kids? What about the kids? Well, what about the kids? The kids got to drink the water, bathe in the water, and all that. So if we want to leave anything for generations, well, clean water would probably be a really good one. I'm always writing these little short movies, films in my head. And so in one of them, it's a person from like the 1600s steps into 2019. And I'm like, hey, what's up? And we're walking by a little river, running river, and they bend down, and I know you're not supposed to drink surface water, but stay with me here, it's a movie. They bend down, and they go to take a drink of water out, and I slap the cup out of their hand, and I say, don't drink that. And they say, why not? I say, because the water's contaminated. And then they turn and look with a tear in their eye, and they say, what have you done? So, and then it ends. So that's in my movie scene. But of course, we can take care of our water a lot better. So what can we do? The problem of unregulated chemicals is widespread and ignores the possibility that these compounds may be responsible for harmful impacts to human health and the environment. We need much broader discharge control of these factories and advanced techniques for contaminant monitoring. So from what I'm told, it's very super expensive to put in a reverse osmosis super clean water thingy or what have you that's going to take care of our water. And then even reverse osmosis doesn't always take out all of the bad chemicals in the water. So not being a scientist and not even playing one on TV, but simply just thinking about things, I was thinking, looking at the benefits of the hemp plant for agriculture and knowing that hemp, when planted, not only takes away bad stuff in the soil, it brings good things to the soil. So in reading this article, they're talking about that there is sludge, and I'm giving this idea away for the health of the planet and our local environment. So if someone puts this idea out there, I'm letting you have this one because this is what about the kids? This is for the water. So if hemp can do all this for the soil, and they're mentioning that it's a sludge, well, couldn't we just fill up the edges of every water tributary that we drink out of with nothing but hemp plants? And we could put, let's say, a football field size float with nothing but hemp plants with the root system touching in the water, and we move that along the water tributaries. I said this to the lady from the Haw River Assembly, and she said, well, it'd be very tough in a river. I get that. I just come up with the ideas. I need someone else to be the engineer behind it. But again, using hemp not only as fuel, not only as fiber, not only to stimulate our economy, but is hemp a possible remedy for our issue with the water? Well, I don't know, but I can think about it, and we can put some things in action, and doing something is a whole lot better than doing nothing. And to that, there is a meeting here in Chatham County, and I know I wrote this down, October 16th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., the Chatham County Agriculture and Conference Center, How Safe is Pittsboro's Water? A public forum. And that's at 1192 US 64 Business, Pittsboro, North Carolina. So on October 16th, here in Pittsboro at the Ag Center, and I think I talked to Elaine Chioso about live streaming that. So if you can't make it, hopefully TaJtalk.com in conjunction with Chatham County Line will be out there, and we'll be providing live stream coverage. And set up correctly, you can also communicate from wherever you are. We'll have our YouTube channel up, so if you have some comments or if there's time for an open forum and you can't make it but you want your voice to be heard, we'll be on the wheels of steel and monitoring the computer and the YouTube. And if you have a question, we'll try and get it to those folks who are presenting this conference. But this is, again, something that we should all be talking about. And I have all this data here. I don't want to bog you guys down with data. I'll wait till I have the experts on here. And then hopefully we can also get some of our city folks in here and talk in a very collaborative way as to what we can do to make this happen. So yeah, that's happening here in Chatham County. And we also have elections coming up. So for next Tuesday, Focus on Chatham, I am hoping that I can have as many people running for office in Chatham County come through here and talk about why we should vote for them. We do have quite the race happening, and we'd like to be able to hear from as many of our folks as possible. I'm going to reach out to Jackie Adams and Albert Reddick they're running for mayor against the incumbent Mayor Grimes. I don't know if he would be able to make it, but I do know that both Jackie and Reverend Reddick said that they would be into, I don't want to call it a debate, but let's talk, having a conversation of the mayoral candidate. So I'm going to reach out to them, see if we can get them in here, and see if we can get some of our local people running for commissioner as well. And yeah, we're going to make that rock. And I'm sorry I did not have my guest today, but I'm very happy that I had the folks from 580 and Thirsty Skull and the nice young lady Kirby from Cumulonimbus Chocolates, and she left me some chocolates right here. You guys see those? She said, do you want me to leave you some chocolates for your kids? Like they're actually going to get them, right? No, I'm kidding. They will get them. And having our local people coming in, it shows you what Pittsboro's all about. Local chocolate, local beer. I've been playing music by Wes Collins, who is a local musician who's won quite a few accolades for his music. And I'm going to close it out with another song by Wes Collins, and I'll close it out by a song. And hold on. Oh, great. And Randy's going to talk water next week or this week? I'll do it right now with you. You want to talk now about water? Sure. Well, come on, man. Talk water. Here, I'll sit you right here.
Let's come on in. Let's talk water. Mic? Yeah.
You can give him this mic right here?
Yep.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, won't you welcome to the Chatham County Live Talk Focus on Chatham. And we look like a news session. Look at all this paper. This means we're talking about stuff.
We got a lot of paper here, Aaron.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Randy Voller. He's the editor and chief of the Chatham County Line and former mayor of Pittsboro. So, yeah, let's talk about some water. You were sitting there listening to what I was saying. What can you add to that, Randy?
Well, no water, no town. So, I mean, having access to good, clean drinking water is a cornerstone to having livable communities, as you were opining. And, you know, the issues with our water and water quality in Pittsboro have been ongoing for many years. They didn't just begin with the PFAS and, you know, given the complications of point source and non-point source discharge in the river basin, it probably won't end with PFAS.
So what are workable solutions? You know, we talked earlier is that we just don't want to keep rehashing what the problems are, and be in that circular conversation. What are solutions, man?
Okay, so during my initial time as mayor, I met with some of the leaders in Orange County, and we're working with OWASA to get an agreement to get access to the western intake in Jordan Lake. And that's grown into what's now the Jordan Lake Partnership, which has the city of Durham and Raleigh and Cary and Morrisville and Chatham County and Sanford, all kinds of people, Apex, signed on to it. Long term, there's going to be a very large regional water treatment plant built on the western intake of Jordan Lake. That will probably be a reverse osmosis plant. However, that is far out in the future. I mean, I had hoped when we began that conversation in 2006 that it would have been built by now, but in government world, sometimes things take decades to get done. So the more immediate concern is what can be done to address our water now, with, you know, besides building a brand new reverse osmosis treatment plant, which will address the situation, but it does have some other issues when you do RO. I think that you could, in theory, connect to Sanford or Chatham County, which they both have some issues with these unregulated chemicals, but their water sources are coming from a reservoir or from Jordan Lake. And I think in the short term, that would be better than for us dealing with discharges that change on a minute-to-minute basis coming down the Haw River.
So for people who say, well, what are the long, medium, or short-term health concerns?
Well, those are excellent questions. I mean, we've been, we were dealing with other issues that were in the water years ago, and one of the solutions was to do more carbon treatment, was to upgrade what we were doing at the plant. I think from the problems that we first became aware of in 2007, Pittsboro has taken great pains to produce really good quality drinking water. Now we have an input, the PFAS, that are unregulated and coming down the river that is a different problem to solve. But at the time when we were getting the input to your question back then, I remember one of the questions, well, what is the real risk factor? And we had various professors coming in, one from Virginia Tech, who is quite bright and well known in the industry. And if you looked at the data, you would have to drink 2 liters of water every day for 70 straight years to actually see an effect that could be carcinogenic. Now, I'm not saying that that's the same with PFAS, but I'm saying that sometimes, when you gin up fear, people's reactions may not be commensurate with what the level of risk is. I mean, obviously, we want to have good quality, clean drinking water. And the issue is coming from upstream discharges. And we need to have partnerships with people upstream so that they can understand that contributing to the watershed by discharging this is bad for business for them and bad for business for us, bad for our people. But I would also warn people to not just react so quickly and be ruled by fear. I mean, there are some short-term solutions, as I said, that have other benefits connecting to Sanford, for instance, or Chatham and Sanford, may actually lower our risk with PFAS in the short term and allow us to get to a point where we would build a reverse osmosis treatment plant.
So with the October 16th public forum, what are we anticipating for that? Because again, no one likes to go to those things, and it's just I won't use the word I was going to say, but a blank session where nothing gets done, where everyone just talks at one another. So what can we expect? And hopefully we'll be able to live stream this for transparency, which I know that that the people do want, but also, again, so that we're working towards solutions. I like my idea about planting hemp all around the edges.
Right.
I'm serious, man.
Well, I mean, it's funny because one of our mutual friends, Tim Keim, years ago was very interested in mycology, and he brought up the idea of mushroom bunkers, which mushrooms can, pull out all kinds of heavy metals and other pollutants in the water. And I tried when I was mayor to get the engineers working with Pittsboro many years ago to consider that. And of course, in engineering world, things get settled, and if you look at plans, these are details that have been long settled. I mean, just like we run our sewer fluent downhill, gravity, right? That's been settled since the Romans. They weren't willing to get creative on the solutions. I mean, Hal House, of course, designed some of those same type of ideas of using plants to pull out endocrine disruptors and other things that are in the waste stream. And I believe that the new plant that North State Utilities is building is going to have some elements of that. I think that we need to be willing to do out-of-the-box thinking, as you suggest, planting certain crops, certain species that
like gorilla planting.
Yeah, that filtrate the water, right?
Yeah,
just like having man-made,
exactly.
Sometimes you get accidental man-made wetlands when we've done development projects, and you build something, and all of a sudden you see these cattails growing up, and I was happy to see them because I thought, well, they're going to filtrate the runoff that's coming off the road.
So we know that a huge reverse osmosis system would cost millions of dollars, correct?
It's going to cost multiple millions of dollars, and you're going to probably need to get bonding capacity in the town to do it.
So that takes a while.
Well, you're going to have a tax base to support it.
Exactly.
Obviously, Chatham County has a AAA rating. Perhaps Pittsboro could cooperate with Chatham County on such a bond issue. I don't know. That would have to be worked out between the two governments. But yes, you're going to, all of those debt issues are run by the local government commission, and they're going to approve whether you could take on the payments. So
while
we need a growing tax base to pay for it.
While they're waiting to approve that, can we try the plant mushroom idea?
Well, that's
I'm
a funny-
saying, like, while we're waiting to do all that and get those tens of millions of dollars together, why don't we do the other part that's cheaper, and we can just start that right away?
Well, I think you could easily do the issues of planting things, I mean, and or ensuring that the buffers that are close up and down the river are not impacted. I mean, that, of course, is another big topic for debate, and one of the criticisms of development in Chatham Park is impacting the buffers. But yes, you could be doing planning, and we could be connecting to Sanford. And here would be the advantage of, if we're going to dig this sewer line down there, once you're digging the ditch, you may as well use it for other things, because the expenses in digging the ditch. And imagine if we connected, reuse water that we're already producing, and if so we could have a reuse network, so people could be, watering their plants with reuse water as opposed to using, potable water, which is expensive to process. And if we were to connect a potable drinking water line to Sanford, then we get out of the complications of intrabasin transfer rules in the Cape Fear Basin, and we could upsize that sewer line from 2 million gallons to 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, however many you could negotiate with Sanford, and suddenly our issues with sewer in Pittsboro and our area here would be solved, and we wouldn't have to build a gigantic sewer plant that could cost, $40 to $70 million, depending on size, technology, and the cost to build at the time.
And over what amount of time would that take to build that?
Well, I mean, we already have the plan to build the sewer line is already in the works. Right now, you would hope in the next 2 years that'd be connected. But I mean, I think that there's a water line already to 3M that at one time Sanford supplied through Chatham County. I'd have to verify, but it would seem to me that Pittsboro and Chatham could connect there, and Pittsboro and Chatham are already probably connected up by Bynum and in other places. I mean, if we needed to, we could, in theory, get the water from the county and polish it at our water plant and produce a better quality water. I mean, the issue, Aaron, is simply we're getting a water supply out of the Haw River that is changing, the chemistry is changing minute to minute, because we don't know what's being discharged, and the people running our water treatment plant, no matter how good they are at doing it, they're dealing with chemistry that's changing, and if you have PFAS in there, it's going to have an impact.
So then, for an unlearned person like me, if it's entering our water, do we know the entry location?
Well, that's what they're trying to determine. I've heard various assertions and rumors about where it's coming from. One I heard was that a fire department training center up in Alamance, had some type of fire retardant materials that they were using that was, draining off in the river. Again, I don't have any hard evidence in front of me that this is true, but I was told this, so I'm going to modify my statement of saying this is what I was told, but no evidence in front of me. But obviously, something is getting into the river, and it's coming from, certain discharge points north and northwest of Pittsboro up the Haw River Basin.
Well, I'm going to use this terminology because it's kind of like they say, race for the cure for cancer. Race for the cure, race for the cure. And my dad died of cancer, and I had some family members that have cancer, so I don't make light of this. But again, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, and they're way more smarter people, but we've been racing for the cure for a long time. So I said, why don't we race to the cause? They don't have to start racing to the cure anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with this concept.
It's funny you say that,
Let's
Aaron.
race to the cause of stuff.
There's some literature out now that's saying that there's a huge industry around cancer and people make money on that, but they're not actually getting to the causal factors.
Yeah, go figure.
I mean, we're producing things and putting it into our built environment that are, cancer causing and or, are risk factors for cancer.
I can do a whole show around that. So Randy, now that I have you on here, I'm going to ask you to help me with something. So we got some elections happening here in Chatham County,
yes,
don't we?
We do.
And early voting starts?
Multiple elections. Early voting starts Wednesday, October 16th.
All right. So what I would like to see if we can do between now and then, and if we got to do a Tuesday, Thursday show or what have you, but How many candidates you think we can get through here to come here and give us their 3 to 5 minutes why people should vote for them?
And we should be able to try to get them all. I mean, our paper put out a questionnaire that was simple. Chatham Record did a much more involved questionnaire, but ours was just, who are you? Why are you running? What will you do for the people? I think if you can answer those 3 basic questions and people get an understanding of who you are, they can assess whether they want to vote for you. I mean, people should tell you what they're going to do when they're elected. I mean, that's a key thing. Are they going to fix this water problem? Are they going to vote to actually float bonds to build a reverse osmosis treatment plant? I mean, that's clearly something that people should be able to tell you when they're running.
And these are things, you never want people to feel that their voice isn't being heard or that there's any intimidation factor of them being voted. As a matter of fact, a letter was shared with me by someone who they were actually attacked in questions as to whether or not they were allowed to be voting in a certain area. And that was done by someone who's actually running for commissioner. So I think these are things we need to bring to the light when people feel that they're being intimidated to do something which we all should have the right to do, like vote, and they're being intimidated based upon their race. And that's happening by people who are now running for an official seat in the area. We should talk about that.
There should be a dialogue. I mean, I think that people should address their past advocacy, and if they've had a change, and there's no shame in learning new information and changing your mind. I mean,
Agreed.
You don't need to be dogmatic. I mean, sometimes people change because they got new information and they know more. But certainly, if a candidate had a position at one time that was against immigrants or had a question about immigration, the people should understand, does that candidate still feel that way? And or if they do feel that way, how will they be in office? Because municipalities actually have a connection to this. I mean, there's this notion of sanctuary cities, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
Our Chatham County commissioners actually put out a resolution in the last couple of months condemning what was happening on our border, children being locked up in cages, right? So these kind of ideas, if a candidate has those ideas, the people should know that. I mean, they should also know, like, is a candidate going to be fiscally conservative, and is that with a capital C or a small c? I mean, nobody wants to waste money, and local government and state government, unlike federal government, has to balance its budget, right? We don't get to print money. But in that budget process, there are choices that can be made that have a real impact on everyone in the community. For instance, are we going to choose to build basketball courts or recreation places for children, or are we going to choose to build pickleball courts that a lot of older boomers like to play now? I mean, these are real questions.
Here, I have a real answer. The old Piggly Wiggly needs to be part theater, part bowling alley. Can we do that?
Well, that's an idea.
Some city dollars.
I mean,
get some city dollars.
I'm a strong believer in public-private partnerships, and I think people shouldn't be afraid of that. I mean, that's what local government can do when it's being its best. It can pick up issues and lead and pull along the rest of the community and create these kind of strategic partnerships that ultimately create a community that everyone feels affirmed and enjoys living in.
And so for anyone who's running for office, I will say, my kids are getting older every day, but of course, one of the rubs about living here in Pittsboro in town is that if you want to do something with your kids, you always got to at least drive 10 miles away to go do something. So it would be great to have, especially when the weather gets colder. There's no a gymboree or no movie theater, bowling alley, or, so something where it could be a collaborative that continues to drive revenue and keep families here on a cold January day when no one wants to drive to Beaver Creek or to Cary or whatever.
Exactly. I mean, and one of the things is that, being sustainable and having a lower carbon footprint also involves, not driving your car. Now, of course, as we get more electric vehicles, that's going to address that. But I mean, my wife and I years ago sold all of our vehicles down to, we have one 2004 RAV4 that we've owned since the beginning. RAV4s are great cars, and we've made a go at it, with one vehicle. It's hard to do, and we're in town, and I think that you're getting to the point of it would be good to have these type of infrastructure in town for families and residents to get to, whether they're biking, walking, or a short car trip.
And we see some construction happening between the McDonald's and the right here, the Alpha Center. What's that going to look like here over the next few years? We've been seeing a lot of road work happening. Are we going to get some sidewalks coming?
Well, there's certainly some of these candidates coming on here can address it. I know that those that are on the board, Jay Farrell and specifically John Bonnets, did some real good work on changing the plan of widening 15501, a plan that actually, when I was mayor, we got approved. And this is going to have biking lanes, pedestrian access sidewalks all the way from the marketplace here at Chatham Mill straight up to Lowe's and Powell Place. And I think that once that corridor is more pedestrian and bike friendly, it's going to really change what Pittsboro's like, and you're going to have people moving back and forth. It's only 1.6 miles from one to the other. It's not far.
And okay, here's my other idea for that, like where the Chatham Market is over to the coffee shop.
Yes.
Can we get some walkover bridges, maybe one over by the Piggly Wiggly and the old Pizza Hut, some walkover things so that when, traffic's only getting more and more, we need a couple of those like you see when you're going to Cary.
Like the small ones, that would be something that local officials can take up with the Triangle, what you call TARPO, Triangle Area Rural Planning Organization. I chaired that for 7 years, and they advised DOT, and those are things that your local officials, Chatham County Board of Commissioners and Pittsboro and Siler City, they approve, and you can make those suggestions. I mean, these are things that where local elected officials can have a real impact longitudinally, like over time.
Well, let's get those things approved, and our goal is for next Tuesday, when we focus on Chatham, our goal is to get as many of the candidates in here, because the date today is the 8th, so that will be the 15th, the day right before early voting starts.
Before early voting.
So let's see if we can get Jackie Adams, Albert Reddick, because that's going to be an interesting race in Siler City. Can you comment on that race in Siler City? And we know Mayor Grimes is the incumbent, but that's going to be a very interesting race because Siler City is poised to do some great things. Can you talk about that?
Well, Siler City is interesting for a lot of reasons. One, if you look at demography, it's a minority town, although not all of the Hispanics that live in Siler City can vote, right? Although you look at the numbers, especially the children that have attended Jordan Matthews, these are legal voting citizens. It's a community in change. They've had great success in opening up this new chicken plant, which is working 2 shifts and employing, I believe, up to 1,400 people and supplying an awful lot of revenue to their enterprise fund in terms of water. I think that what you're seeing now are new people coming in and existing people that have been in Siler City that want to see change. You've got 3 candidates, incumbent John Grimes, who's been on the board for quite some time, and at one time he was a county commissioner. His father-in-law, Obie Budd, was mayor years ago. You've got Jackie Adams, an exciting business person that's very involved with the merchants, owns businesses in town, and you have Albert Riddick, Reverend Albert Riddick, who has long roots in the community, and he works in the school system, and he has also some specific ideas, and of course they're coming from different points of diversity as well. Albert's African American, Jackie is a white woman who's also a member of the LGBTQ community, and then you have John Grimes, who's like me, an aging white male.
Well, that's the whole demographic. So we're hoping to get them in, and we got a bunch of people running for commissioner here in Chatham County.
Well, there's another race in Siler City that's interesting. They have districts where you can only vote in the district. In Pittsboro, it's at large, so everyone on the ballot, people have 3 votes to vote for them. In Siler City, they only have a few at large, and people run in the district. There are 3 people running in that district where Mike Constantino is the incumbent, and that's a race to watch.
So those are 2 very important races there. Can we get any of those folks in?
We can put out an invite from Chatham County Line and TaJ Media to bring them in the studio and let them talk to the voters.
So yeah, if we could we're doing a 2-hour show. They get about 7-8 minutes apiece. And what politician ever stays in 7 to 8 minutes apiece?
Well, if you put a microphone in front of a politician, and I'm, still active in politics, you're going to get a lot of opinions. I'm guilty myself.
All right, so we're gonna have to come up with some good questions for them. So, I mean, that's what we got. That's what we have to look forward to here. Chatham County Line, TaJtalk.com. We focus on Chatham, and this is where you can have a voice that's representing Chatham County like none other, and your voice is always welcome here. If Randy, tell them how to get in touch with Chatham County Line if they want to have a story advertised, talk about what's going on. What's that email address? ChathamCountyLine@gmail.com. They can also text me at 919-949-1274. We've got partnerships. We've been working together with the Chatham Record. We're working with TaJ Media, TaJ Talk. We've got a wonderful sound studio over here that's recording musicians at Circle City Recording that John Delaforce just did a whole bunch of recording working with Shakori Grassroots Festival last week, and you were here filming. And we've got a relationship with our Chatham, which is young students under the supervision of Professor Eric Firkinoff up at UNC. And they're writing stories on Chatham. So we're all trying to work together local. We need merchants and businesses to advertise with us local so we can get this message out. And they can come on here like we had.
They can come on here.
And Kirby today, come bring their product. We'll try it. We'll try it on if it's got clothes. If it's a hammer, we'll bang a nail into it. I mean, I don't know. But bring the product. Be on air. But
this is all about micro-local. I mean, you've got an excellent local businessman working with you on this, Jody from TriTech.
Jody from TriTech Computer, that's right.
Fixes computers. Yeah, he's the man. Here's John back from Circle City Recording. But John, come over here a second. What's your main business? What you actually do to make the money?
Yeah, we're gonna let John Delaforce sit right here.
Come on, sit here for a second, John.
Circle City Recording, John Delaforce.
John, you actually design high-end pools, don't you?
Yes, sir. You do.
Yeah, I mean that's actually what pays the freight, so that you can come in here and do this amazing work in the studio.
Yep.
How did you get into that business?
My dad had a pool company growing up, so.
So you just jumped in the deep end?
Yeah, that used to be the name of my studio, actually, the deep end.
Really?
Yeah.
So tell us about the kind of jobs. I mean, you're not just building kiddie pools. I mean, you've got stuff that you could see on HGTV.
Yep, we did some episodes of Pool Kings.
Really? I mean, you were telling me earlier that you do the kind of stuff that, sometimes it's like $1 million installations.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Do you have any in Chatham?
Do not at that level.
No, this is Chatham County, but you do have some. You told me up in the mountains. You said you had some crazy one.
Yeah, I got one up there. We probably have 4 or 5 of that level.
And you also have stuff in Wake County as well.
Lots of it. That's primary businesses in Wake County.
If somebody wanted to contact you about this, if they were interested in, I mean, you don't just do the super high end, but you'll do a really nice pool and design for someone. If they have a lot or a house, how do they get in touch with you, to inquire about whether they could do a pool installation and some of the other designs that you might do?
Search for Blue Haven Raleigh, and my YouTube will be tagged with that as well. So if you search for Blue Haven Raleigh or John Delaforce, you'll be able to see my designs on YouTube. We place them in their videos.
So this weekend you did some recording. This is the other thing we do. You and I both play music. You're a bass player, among other, talents. I'm a percussionist. But who'd you have over here that came in through David Dean from Shakori Grassroots Festival?
Had 4 different artists. Western Centuries came in. And
Westerns, aren't you a fan?
I am, yes I am. Yeah.
So you got to record a group that you actually a fan of.
Yes, sir.
How many are in that group?
6 people.
So you did a 6-piece right here at the Alpha Center, offices of Chatham County Line and the wonderful studios of Circle City Recording at Suite 350B.
They were in and out in probably 45 minutes. So
45.
Getting 6 guys set up. They brought in their own gear, some really nice vintage gear. We recorded it, and they were out after a quick interview. And
so David was doing
enjoyable.
Podcasts, so you were also mixing that as well.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So the first one was it was Sierra Farrell, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Tell me about that. She seemed like a firecracker.
Oh yeah, that was a great experience. So, and we recorded that in a traditional manner with just one microphone because it's very old-time music. Just her and the fiddle player, and they did a great performance of 3 songs, and it's got a nice old-time radio sound and feel to it. So I'm excited for that to come out. I don't know exactly when those are going to come out yet, but I would hope sometime over the next few months, we're going to see each podcast start to drop as we get them the production done on it, and David
You do the post-production and get it all up to the quality that you demand.
Yeah, and it's going to be the Shakori sessions at Circle City Recording.
Awesome. So who else did you have in here?
Let's see.
You had someone after Sierra on Friday.
Yep, Haley Jane.
Haley, that's
So
right.
She did a great performance. Just her, an awesome interview. I'm talking about her sobriety, and so there's a lot of positive things, and she's got a really, really big heart and a really big message. So I'm excited for that one to come out too.
And then you had someone else on Saturday.
Yeah, we had Jeb from Dawn of the Buffalo.
Oh,
He
Jeb came
in
from Down on the Buffalo.
and sat down and did some a little bit of storytelling on how Shakori got its start, how the Grassroots Festival got its start.
Oh, that's cool. I saw you out there at the festival enjoying it with Aaron, and you guys were collecting information and talking to folks.
Yep.
And, that's another collaboration that we have with Circle City Recording and TaJ Media and Chatham County Line is we're working together with Shakori. We believe in promoting local assets,
Yeah.
our local businesses, and showing to the rest of the world who we are here in Chatham County.
And Shakori's got this big, great, positive vibe. So we want that to be part of Pittsboro and get those artists to be coming here when they're coming to Shakori, because there's great artists, there's a great vibe happening there that not everybody in Pittsboro gets to see. And then it would be really great for the local bars and other local town to be able to play with these musicians and venues. So that's
We'll see how this organically grows over time during the year, and then, of course, Shakori 2020 in the spring.
Yeah.
I anticipate we'll have even more people. One of the great things about our location is we got plenty of parking.
Yep.
You can bring a tour bus right up here and park because we got plenty of space. This was an old car dealership that's been repurposed. It's called the Alpha Center, and you can come right up here and work with John and record.
Yes, sir. All right, well, I'm getting back to work.
Well, you got to
Thanks,
get back
TaJ.
to work. We really appreciate you coming
All
on. Circle City Recording, John Delaforce. Thanks for coming on, John.
Hiya.
We're going to turn it back over to the head of TaJ Media, which would be Aaron Hall. Aaron, I appreciate coming on today, and we look forward to pulling something together with Chatham County Line and TaJ Media next Tuesday on the 15th and get some of these candidates here to talk about the upcoming election.
Agreed, and thank you to Randy Voller for his expertise in politics and water, Chatham County Line, all things news, all things Pittsboro and Chatham County. Yes, we're going to get those candidates here, and it is 12:58, and I need to have some lunch, y'all, but we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we're going to
I
have
thought you had that chocolate.
Yeah, I had them chocolates, all right. So, yeah, I'm going to send you out with some music, and this is a song by yours truly. It's called Today's a Good Day, because regardless of what we talk about, we want everyone to know that it's a good day. So TajTalk.com, Chatham County Line, Brother John Delaforce with the Circle City Recording. We got Jody with TriTech Computers on the Wheels of Steel, and this is how we do hyper local news and information, folks. So, yeah, I'm Hall out of time. We appreciate y'all coming. We'll see y'all next week, all right?
It's a good day to be a good way, whether the night is. Don't let your screw face erase all the good vibe. Day's a good day to be a good way, whether the night is. It's so nice, so nice. Let your screw face erase. Let's go by. Foolish minds are kind to see what's right for you, what's right for me. The good vibe, the good vibe. Day's a good day to be a good way. We're feeling nice. It's so nice, so nice. Let your screw face. Yeah. This good vibe, this good vibe, good vibe. Come on. Foolish mind to see what's right for you, what's right for me. I hear you speaking with tongues of hypocrisy. All y'all can need jealousy. Day's a good day, be a good way. It's so nice, so nice. Let your screw face. Yes, this good vibe. This good vibe. Day's a good day to be a good way. And we're feeling nice. It's so nice. Let your screw face. Yes, this good vibe. This good vibe. This good vibe. Say nice, so nice, say nice, so nice. This is a good day, yeah. You make us feel a good way, yeah. So nice, so nice. And your screw face long, or your body race, y'all. So